Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. Now I am always on the lookout for 3D moulds. I do love 3D resin art and I search Amazon quite often as soon as I got 5 minutes and generally on the internet I search for 3D moulds that are new. Well, I found this mould from Amazon. I don't think this company is new, but I'd never seen it on Amazon in the UK before. When I went and Googled the company, they've got quite a few of really sweet moulds. So I thought I'm going to have to try this mould and show you, and also show you what other moulds they have. I only have the dog and I did buy it myself through Amazon. The link will be in the description box below. So let's have a look how I get on with this crystal type wolf dog. So this is the mould that I was referring to. It's absolutely stunning, very shiny and has crystal points on it, and I just thought it was adorable. I'm going to be using Let's Resin epoxy resin for this. It's my go-to resin and there is a discount code on the screen as well as the information box below. I'm also chucking in loads of scrap pieces of dichroic film and iridescent cellophane. Now you can buy this sort of thing and party bags. I buy my dichroic film on eBay and a link for that will be in the description box below as well. And I'm just using clear resin. I'm pouring it into the mould and I'm giving it a good squeeze. I want to get into all those little points. I want all the bubbles and air out of those little points, and I'm also using a silicone tool. And I'm pushing the silicone tool into all the little crevices to get rid of those point bubbles. They will stay there even if you put it in a pressure pot. And that's basically all there is to this. I do squirt it occasionally with isopropyl alcohol, which does help to get rid of any bubbles trapped in those points. This mould does have a lot of points, a lot of sticky up crystal bits, which I love, but there can be a little bit of a pain if you don't get rid of that air. I will also mention I sprayed this mould fully with mould release before I poured any resin in there. That does help look after your moulds. Don't forget, if you want to ask me any questions, use the comment section below, and a thumbs up is always really appreciated. Gave it a good squirt with isopropyl alcohol and I put it in the pressure pot. "24 hours later and I can demould." Now you don't have to put something like this in the pressure pot. There are other ways to get rid of bubbles, but I have a pressure pot so I tend to use it most of the time. So what do I think of this little wolf mould? Well, I absolutely love it. Even though I keep calling it a dog, it's a wolf. I'm pretty sure it's a wolf. But look at it, it's stunning, absolutely stunning. And I just got to make more. Why wouldn't I? Let's make more. I do wonder sometimes how much you can see through a video screen, so I thought I'd turn out the light and see what it looked like now. Isn't it stunning? All the colours in there are just gorgeous. Now it's not for everyone. So let's try a different way. So this one I've called the Gilded Wolf. Basically you start off with completely clear resin, and that's easy. You can see through it to see where the bubbles are. You can get rid of them with a silicone tool, or as I'm doing here with a little micro brush. They're very handy. And I always reuse my micro brushes. You can clean them off or take the little brush off and use it as a pointed stick. So I filled it up, but not quite to the top of the mould. I wanted to leave room because I do actually want to put a black backing on this, but I do need it to go into the pores areas, which is quite high up on this mould. Again, once I'm completely happy, I'll pop it into my pressure pot and leave it in there for a full cure time until the next day. This time I don't demould, I'm going to cover it with metal leaf size. Now metal leaf size is a glue that goes completely clear when it's dry, but it also stays sticky. And because it stays sticky, you can add embellishments that will stay stuck to it. Now there is a problem with doing layers with this metal size, and as you can see here, that is not touched with the glue. I've left an area around the metal size so the resin can adhere to the resin on the next level. "45 minutes later and I can add my embellishments, and I'm going to use some Cosmic Shimmer metal flakes. Now they come in different pots with a multitude of colours in, and when I found these I was hooked on them. I still love using them as much as I can, and this one is stunning. It's got so many different colours in there, black, red, gold, and I just thought it would be beautiful to show through this crystal wolf mould colours at the bottom. That means that most of it will be clear, but when you look down you will see the colour. It will also reflect through the piece even if you're not looking down, so it will shimmer through the crystal clear resin. When I'm completely happy that I've covered the bottom, I then give it a good clean up and it's ready for the black. And now you can clearly see the outline where there is no glue. That's so that the resin will stick to the resin. And this time it doesn't go in my pressure pot. This black resin was left over from another project and it was really thick at the time. You can see how thick it is by just putting a little bit on the bottom of this. But as I had it and I wanted the black, I thought I'd use it. It wasn't the best thing to do, to be honest. It was nearly setting by the time I poured it onto the bottom of this wolf. 24 hours later and I do have a bit of an issue. I have some air pockets. Now that must have been air that popped up from underneath the mould, which makes me think that the black has seeped down the side of the mould, and I really hope it hasn't. And I'm a bit tense. But it's fine on top, it's only underneath that I have the issue. So I can fix that. I have a way. There are a couple of ways you can fix this. You could fill in those areas with black UV resin, although black UV resin doesn't like curing. You could do a top coat of black resin, but that means it potentially could float over the side, and as it's not in the mould anymore, it's not going to lay flat. So what I decided to do was give it a sand. I'm using 1000 grit wet dry sanding paper, and I just give it a sand down to get rid of all those little rough bits so it's nice and smooth. It doesn't take long, just a few minutes. I wish I could work this fast though. I keep adding a little bit of water. Once I'm happy that it's completely smooth, all those sticky up bits from the bubbles are completely gone, then I can move on to the next stage. And the next stage is sticky back felt. So I have here a scrap of sticky back black felt, which is a little bit difficult. It's very strong sticky stuff this, and again I will link it in the description box below. I think I bought this from eBay, and I'm just going to put sticky back felt on the bottom. Now theoretically I could draw around and cut the felt before I put it on, but I'm not very accurate when it comes to that. So I'm going to cut the felt once it's stuck on. I'm using some really sharp scissors, and to start with I just do a rough cut to get rid of most of the area that I don't need. Once I'm happy with the rough cut, then my scissors are really stuck up with the glue because this felt is really sticky. But I can sort that out really easily. This is sticky stuff remover, and it's amazing at getting rid of any sticky residue that you have on scissors or anywhere. When we was kids we used paraffin, and I'm pretty sure this is the same stuff, but I don't even think you can buy paraffin over the counter anymore. So I bought this and I've had it for years. It is really handy though. It really keeps your scissors nice, clean and sharp. Do be careful not to slice your finger because I've done that before. Now that my scissors are nice and clean again, they won't stay that way for long, but I do find scissors easier to use than a Stanley knife or a blade because this felt tends to separate with lots of fluffy bits sticking out. And finally, I wanted to try an opaque colour, wolf. So I'm using this glitter from Resin Supplies then. And although it's called silver, you put it in black resin and the colours come through like you wouldn't believe. It sparkles like crazy. There's not much glitter in this black resin. I'm using Vista black pigment for this, but you can use any black pigment. But it really makes this particular glitter shine like you wouldn't believe. Resin Supplies then is a little resin Facebook group here in the UK. If you haven't heard of them, go check them out. They're really nice people as well. And I'm just filling this mould up completely to the top with the black resin and glitter. And you can't get much simpler than that, can you? I did want to see if it would shine as much as it does with clear resin. So the following day we can take a look. I love demoulding day. They all came out of the mould so simply, and I absolutely love this. Even though it's just opaque black with glitter, that shine and shimmer from the mould is stunning. It just says what that mould is capable of. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. It wasn't that expensive either, but it will be linked in my Amazon storefront for sure. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you've got something out of it. Come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. But I think I'm going to be playing around with resin bubbles. Have a great week. Happy crafting, and bye for now.